Hare Krishna. I'm Anutama. I want to explain a little bit about what common law is and why we're using it for this lawsuit against the GBC and the acting BBT trustees. But first, I want to just thank the devotees that have called and have volunteered to personally serve the lawsuit to the various different 44 defendants. And it looks like we have several of them that will be served very soon, and possibly one that's already been served. And I'm encouraging the devotees that are doing this, if possible, to get a video of it so that we can I just think it would be fairly satisfying, at least for myself, to see somebody like Jay Israel or Robert Grant receiving a lawsuit that was very due for them to be received. Anyway, what I want to do is talk about, somebody had asked me, well, if common law is such a great thing, why isn't it being used more? And the answer to that is similar to, there's technology, for instance, that you can take, water is made out of hydrogen and oxygen. If you can split the molecule, you can burn hydrogen. And I've actually seen experiments online where they're able to do that very positively. It's a matter of having electrolytes and a certain amount of frequency, but basically you could run a car off of water. I mean, it's been proven reasonably to me. However, we don't see that happening, and I think we all know why. So similarly, common law is is the oldest. Manu obviously had the laws written down, but even so, within Western civilization, common law is the basis of all of the legal systems that we have. There's really only several different law concepts, and what happens is that the statutory law is basically an offshoot of contract law, which is a big part of what common law is. Now, most people, if I even bring up different kinds of law, then eyes glaze over and people don't want to hear it. It's like, no, I'd rather talk about anything else besides law. But common law is kind of different in the sense that it's not complicated. Everybody has heard of common law marriages, and that's not complicated. You know that if a man and a woman are living together and doing certain kinds of behavior, and they seem to have a certain kind of consciousness about the nature of their relationship, then we automatically know that that is what's called a common law marriage, and that will be enforced in regular courts of law. There's also common law contracts that occur anytime you agree with somebody. And a really interesting is common law trusts that are more they're more widespread than you think, because anytime that you trust somebody else, trust requires three things. It requires somebody to give something valuable, then there has to be something valuable to protect, and then there has to be the person that gets the benefits from whatever it was that was given by the grantor. Anyway, that's a complicated thing. But the thing about common law is that if somebody has a complaint against somebody else, if somebody did an injustice to another person, common law is a way to resolve that dispute and is accepted in every single country. There are treaties to this effect that if you can get together 12 pretty much random people and tell them the facts of a dispute, that they will be able to come up with a just judgment. And that's really all that common law is. And the neat thing is that it requires a few things. It requires, before you go to a trial, first of all, the party which in regular courts is called defendant, but the party that's being complained against needs to be able to be aware that what the complaint is and who's complaining. And in the regular court system, of course, that's done by serving, getting actually serving the lawsuit personally. Or occasionally, they'll actually, in regular law, they will allow you to do it in certified mail. With common law, actually, all you have to do is post it in a public place, and it's accepted that the person who's being complained about will find out about it. However, in order to mesh the common law with the regular law, I feel that it's very important for devotees to physically take the lawsuit, print it out, put it in an envelope, and physically hand it to the person, because then I'm trying to think of ways that could be objected to later. And I think if we serve them that there's no denying that they knew about this lawsuit, that it'll make it easier once the verdict is reached. However, in common law, you don't necessarily have to get a verdict from a a jury of 12 people, because the next thing that you do is if any of the defendants answer this lawsuit, and by answer I mean if they read, you know, the various different paragraphs, for each paragraph, all they have to do to answer the lawsuit is say admitted, yeah, I agree, that's true. Denied, no, I don't agree, we're going to have to argue about this point, or I don't have enough knowledge. Now, let me pick one of these paragraphs at random. So paragraph number 76. The natural persons managing the BBTI are managing the BBT property as though it is a business, not a trust, managed for the benefit of the beneficiaries. So the defendants, you know, any one of the 44 can answer that and say, yeah, I admit that. It looks like the BBTI is managing it like as a business. Or they can say deny, no, it's being managed exactly the way that the grantor Srila Prabhupada wanted the property to be managed. So anyway, that's a point that we could argue about. But like I was saying, it doesn't necessarily have to go to a jury, because the next point after they answer the lawsuit is that we sit down with a mediator and just talk over what the problems are. And why wouldn't they want to do that? I mean, I have some valid, like I say, every one of the 80 different paragraphs here in this lawsuit, we can talk about whether we agree with it or not. And then, of course, there's the conclusions that I reached because of the facts that they either have to admit, deny, or say they don't know. So I think that's the basics about what common law. Please ask any questions. I'd like to inform people more about it. It is a little bit of an evolving process, because most of the common law that's being practiced nowadays is just done through the mail, because most people, anyway, that's a complicated thing. So Hare Krishna, and I hope everybody chants really good rounds today. Hare Krishna.